Sonia, thank you
Yes.
so much for being the very first guest on the Small Business Talk podcast. I'm so happy to have you here and to talk to you about you and your business ownership. You have a lot going on.
Yes.
For new listeners, which should be everyone, because this is the first episode. What I'm going to be doing on this podcast is just talking to business owners. And we want to learn about what they're doing, but more importantly is just really start to uncover the challenges associated with business ownership and what you're doing personally to overcome those challenges. And this is just in an effort to help people along the way. And they might be having the same issue or different issues. So that's what this podcast is going to be all about.
Well, I love it because I think you kind of grow up with this sort of like dream of what being a business owner is, right? And it's like all fun and games and vacations and fancy cars. And I don't know, there's like this image and it's can be that, though it's not always that. And so I think this is great to talk about the real stuff. And I'm honored to be the first, and I'm honored to get to do it with you. So thank you so much.
Yes. All right. Before we get into the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
You own two businesses.
Yep.
Right? You have Tauren Consulting and you also have Catalyst. We're going to talk about both those businesses, but what I'd like to do is just start with Tauren and just get to know the backstory. What made you launch that business in the first place? Let's just talk about Tauren.
Yeah. So I became a recruiter really early. Well, I'm going to be 49 this year. So there's that. And so, when I was younger, I went to a headhunter. And I was miserable at my job. I was a claims adjuster. I was like, headset to what was the road condition? What, which direction were you driving? Did you see the other car come, blazing through the intersection? I was just like taking these auto claims, and it was a great job. And I learned a lot. I made a lot of great friends, but I wasn't going, there was nowhere I was going to go, be like a claims supervisor and a claims manager. Like that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so my mom had gotten a job through a headhunter. And I was like, well, I don't know what that is. And it happened to be the mom of someone we went to school with. So I went and saw Yoli, and she was, it was this big office, Kri, with these big executive desks, like butted up to each other. And I grew up really poor, like welfare, food stamps. I had this like clunky car. I drove it into this parking lot, and there were all these fancy cars. And when I went in, there were all these fancy people. And as I'm talking to Yoli, the headhunter, like she kept getting up and people kept going, ringing a gong. And then they would tell the story about someone that got a job, and there'd be all these applause. And I was like, what the hell do you do here? Like, I want to be here. And she's like, oh, you want to be a recruiter? It's like, I don't know. And so literally 2-3 weeks later, I started as a corporate professional headhunter, and I would help people find jobs in the non-technical, non-accounting, like they were admins, customer service, sales. It was just this kind of obscure group of positions that I would work on. And for me, it was, the first person I placed, I made like $10,000 commission. And I was like, what the hell? Like, that's more money than I'd ever had at one given time. I didn't even have like a nice suit. That was the first thing all the ladies did I work with, was like, we're going shopping. And I bought like a purple lavender Tahari suit that is still hanging in my closet that I'll never, ever fit again. But it was like the first cool thing that I did. And I fell in love with recruiting because I just thought it was so cool to get to know people, what they wanted to do, and then match them with a company. And then you became this extension of a company who would tell you all the things about their business, good, bad, and say, go find me this purple unicorn. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And so I did that, and had some iterations of that, and followed my boyfriend, now my husband, to Vegas, and got into different kinds of recruiting and landed in IT. But there was always this thing inside of me, like I'm working for someone else all the time. And I'm a rule breaker. I'm a Taurus by nature, and I would often get in trouble. One of my mentors literally took me down 3 floors to the parking lot at Howard Hughes and was like, do you see your name on top of that building? And if you don't, then you don't get to call the shots. And I was like, that was huge for me. And at that moment, I really was like, I got to figure something out. Like, I don't want to work for corporate and be told I can't make something happen because they can only pay a 15% fee, but the company wants 20. And now this poor girl can't get this job. And I just didn't like it. And so the wheels were turning, and I had to go through a lot of self-growth and confidence. But fast forward in 2015, I bought out the company that I had been working for. And that's a whole story in and of itself. But
holy cow. Yeah. First of all, you saw that you walk into this room and you're already in a new world. Your eyes are open to possibility and you're already seeing what that is. And you're seeing a bell on the wall and like, I want to ring that bell.
Yes.
And I think it's great that that's the gong. Like that's the motivation, right?
Yeah.
Like I have made it.
Yeah.
If I can ring that gong,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I could, you're a friend of mine. We've known each other for a while now, and I have a good sense of your personality, and I could see you just being successful as a recruiter, but also you are curious by nature.
Yeah.
And asking questions.
Yeah.
And I love that in your journey, you're doing that and you're challenging by asking questions, by being curious. And, it sounds like that you kind of hit a ceiling because of that, though. How did you handle being in that type of environment? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I hit a wall more than a ceiling because I would ask questions that would just piss people off and just be, why can't we do it this way? Why can't we help this person? Why can't we get creative? It just was like constantly just like hitting a wall. And it was frustrating for me, but I don't know that I had the professional development and the skills to communicate properly either. I think we're labeled a lot as women as angry, alpha male. One time, I didn't quite get along with someone who didn't like the choices I made in staffing. And the branch manager sat me down and he's like, well, this is because you're an alpha female and, you're just going to always piss other women off. And I was like, well, I don't really want to be that person. I don't want to make other women, especially angry, because I think we could do something more creatively, or I think we could solve a problem differently. And so it was very frustrating for me. And I think at the same time, Kri, I was always told I didn't have a college degree. I'd never owned a business. I couldn't be in management. Like there was always like, no. And that's just not how I was raised. Like I kind of was always knew there was a better way out of my own situation, that I didn't want to be sort of beholden to the system of welfare or just everything that was pushing me down. I just knew there was a better way. And I think it was more of a wall than a ceiling because I knew there was like a way up and over. I knew that there was something, I just couldn't figure out what it was. And a lot of it was honestly me. And I think a lot of women probably, or business owners maybe deal with that. Like, how am I in the way? What am I not capable of? The imposter syndrome that goes on. And so I had to do a lot of self-work around that.
Well, how could you not get imposter syndrome when somebody's telling you all day long, no, or you can't do it that way, or the way you're thinking about that is wrong, or you're bothering me because you're asking me a question. I mean, how could you not get imposter syndrome?
There goes Sonia. One manager would always say, there goes Sonia. And I'd be like, what is wrong? I'm a top producer. Like for the company I worked for, the year I was pregnant with Noah, so I delivered him in April. So I was pregnant 9 months out of the year. I had my best year ever because I wanted to take the year off. So I wanted to like take my commission, put it in a bank account, pay my own salary, pay myself back so I could take that time off. And I ended up being number 8 in the world out of 465 offices. So I'm not, if you tell me no, I'm going to say, maybe not, maybe that's not the right answer, and work so hard. So I knew that I could be successful at it, but I just didn't know how to be my own boss. I didn't know how to make that shift. That was probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah. It sounds to me like, you had to figure it all out on your own.
Yeah. And in some respect, because there was a light that turned on for me, like 2013, 2014, I did personal development through Sci Seminars, which was life-changing for me. And I was like, if it is to be, it is up to me. But I also believe I need the right people in my corner to like help me through that. So I sought out, that's why I love Mastermind. And I know we'll get to that, but I sought out the support of a peer-to-peer group that was way beyond my reach. I didn't own a business. The requirements to be in this group were not only did you have to own a business, but it had to already be producing $5 million. And so when I went to interview with this group, I said, look, while I don't own this business, I'm trying to either buy or blow up and start all over. I'm generating 7 million in revenue. So I know I can do it. Can you help me? Can you, with all of your experience of buying out your fathers and brothers and divestitures and partners and success, can you help me? And they were willing to do that. They're like, we'll give you a year. And I took that probably 11 months before I bought out the partner and made that company Tauren.
Yeah. So how did you know to look for something like that? Did you learn that through Sai or speaking?
So honestly, that owner, I was visiting the headquarters in Orange County, and he's like, you think you know what it means to be a business owner? Come with me. And took me to this cigar bar with a bunch of middle-aged white guys that were supposed to be learning about running a business together. And it was a very inappropriate event. I was like, I'm married. You're all married. This is uncomfortable. Is this what it means to be a successful business owner? That's not what I want. So I literally got on the plane, and they kept saying it's a peer-to-peer group. It's a peer-to-peer group, which wasn't a term I had heard, but I Googled peer-to-peer advisory groups and looked for the competitor of that group that person was in. And that's how the first Mastermind came up. And I set a meeting, met the coach, said, please help me. Please let me be in this group. Please, I need some guidance. And she's like, you're going to have to sell the other members because you don't own a business. And that's kind of how that all evolved. I just was like, whatever he's doing, I'm going to do the opposite, the same, but the opposite.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think that's commendable that you knew to go seek it out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that there is a ton of help and support out there. There's from free support to, high-end paid support. It's out there. And a big thing about being a business owner is there's no one here to help you.
No,
for the most part, you really do have to have the willingness to reach out to get and ask for the help that you need, because you don't have anybody else who has your best interest unless you do something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of, I'm not sober or recovering, but I liken it a lot to that whole AA philosophy, like surrender to what is. And I had to surrender to, I didn't know all the answers, and I didn't know. And I like that whole philosophy makes sense to me, and that there's somebody, whether it's a higher power or somebody above me, that knows more. And so if I want to get to there, I have to learn from them or get to them to ask them the questions. And so I kind of always believe if you're not growing, you're dying. And so I think through personal development, through having read some of these books, I knew that we weren't put on this earth with all the answers. We were put on this earth with all the tools. Like, I believe I have everything inside of me to be successful, but unlocking those tools, unlocking those answers is what I knew I needed help with. And I didn't know, Kri, like the difference between a profit and loss and a balance sheet, like, and why still to this day, why do we have to have different ones? Why can't we just have a financial report that says my company's making this and I have this much money, but it's still very different. Right. And so I knew I had to figure those pieces out. And to your point, often as a business owner, you may be married, you may have a significant other. You don't always want to burden that person, or that person's perspective isn't what you're looking for, because they may always naturally want to just rescue you. And so I don't want Ben, the burden of what I'm doing, to be on my husband, Ben. And he looks at business totally different. We have different DISC profiles, different Colby profiles. I'm risk, like, give me a risk, I'm going to take it. He's risk adverse in a lot of cases. So I knew I needed to look outside of that just to have clarity of, thought, and to be told sometimes, like, Sonia, like, no, like, you're totally in your own way. What you're thinking is wrong. That'll be a big mistake if you do it. I know you really want to do it, and try to make it a business decision versus emotional decision.
Right.
And when you're dealing with your significant other, it's often more based on emotion.
That's a really good point. There's an emotional portion to all of this, making decisions in life. And not to say that speaking to your significant other about it is a bad thing. It could fit for you, but it's also good to talk to other people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that you get different perspectives, and you have some emotional, maybe some non-emotional type of input along the way. I think that's a key thing, just 100%. In life in general, right?
Right. Exactly. Sure.
we need relationships outside of our significant others in our family. And I think it's key to have those relationships. So in 2015, you buy out the company.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's a huge story, but I would love to just get a little glimpse into what that looked like.
So initially, and this is where I think I, could have used some more support, because when I went to this organization, there was a lot of like, hey, we'll give you stock, phantom stock. If you do these things, you'll get equity. And I didn't even know what phantom stock was. It sounds imaginary. Turns out it was. I also didn't know enough to like get a lawyer or to put things in writing. And so, me being me, it was like, do this, you'll get equity. Well, I would do this and get nothing, and do this and get nothing. And that started in 2010. And it went on, and it was through that personal development that I was like, listen, Sonia, if it's going to be, it's up to you, right? If it is to be, it's up to me. And so I went through Mastermind. I did all of this work, and I just said, look, I want to buy you out. It's on paper, a woman-owned business anyway. Nobody's acting as the owner. It's kind of like a ruse. I want to drive this. And that's a challenge too, Kri, because the value of something is what someone's willing to pay for it. And so that number, as I'm sure, kept growing because he knew I wanted to buy it, and I just didn't have a lot of support around figuring that out. But at the end of the day, it was worth every penny. My husband bet on me. We borrowed from our house and 401k. And in March, we bought him out. And when the DocuSign was like coming back through the computer, I just was like so elated. And then all of a sudden, like, oh my God, what have I done?
I know, right?
What am I gonna do? Like, I have to make this now successful. Like, this is, I got to figure this out. And so I switched from the mastermind group that was well-established $5 to $25 million business owners to an entrepreneurial group, because they were in that 1 to 3 years, 0 to 5 million revenue. And I was like, these are the people. These guys are sunsetting in their careers. They're looking to replace themselves. They're doing succession planning. They had done buyouts of brothers and fathers and partners and all that. And that was key for me. But I knew I wasn't in that. I didn't belong at that table anymore. And that was fine. And so I made a decision to move to a more entrepreneurial group, because I was like, how do I market? How do I get a CRM? I just didn't know. I knew how to be a recruiter. I just didn't know how to run a business. And so that was huge. But I literally remember sitting there just like crying as the DocuSign went, going, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yes, but oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Yeah. Oh, those moments, I know them all too well. If there's one thing that stands out in your mind the most about something you do differently in that transaction, what is that thing that stands out?
Like, what would I have done differently?
Yeah.
I've been asked that like a lot. I think I would have, I don't know, because everything's just worked out. I think I could have just said, forget it, and just gone. I didn't have a non-compete. I knew my customers would potentially all go with me. They didn't flinch. It was a struggle to wind down a company from invoices and POs and EIN numbers and wind up. Like, that's a whole other thing. It took me about a year to get the casinos to rewrite my MSAs. And I already had year-long purchase orders. I had to wind down a company and close it and then wind up a new one. So that was a challenge. I think I would have, some of the things in 2015, 2016 that I struggled with were the things that I just thought, well, I'm the owner. I have to do it. Like, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it. I would have maybe sought a little bit more support on one-on-one coaching during that time, to be like, this is not your strength. Why are you doing it? And if somebody in your business wants to do it, let them do it. You could still have final say. I think I was like, oh my God, this cannot fail. And so it has to be on me. Like, I can't put this on my employee to stand up a new website. But when I later in 2017 put traction and an entrepreneurial operating system, and I learned to elevate and delegate, and someone's like, I could do the website for you. I'll bring you ideas. I'll keep you informed along the way, Sonia. So you can it's your idea, it's your brand, it's your stamp of approval. There were a lot of things I took a lot of time to make decisions on, because I had to do it. And I'm a quick start and the Colby with low follow through. I'm like visionary, like out there doing all the things. Plus I was like, shit, I got to get business in this business. I gotta go. So I probably would have sought some more guidance and counseling on how to be a owner operator and still delegate down. If I would have done that sooner, things would have played out. But from 2017 to pre-pandemic, we grew from that 1 million to nearly 5 million. And so whatever we were doing was working.
Yeah.
Hit that sooner had I not been wrapped up in that whole kind of false narrative that, I'm the boss. I have to have my hand in everything. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's tough. I think that's tough for a lot of business owners because it's your baby, it's your money, it's your, there's a lot riding on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody's going to fail, it should be you, right?
Right.
And then, but I think the biggest thing about business ownership is somebody can tell you all day long what business ownership is like, but until you're in it and you do it,
yeah,
I don't know that it's almost like you kind of have to go through that phase, before you understand and are comfortable with delegating.
Yeah, and I mean, business to me is different than probably business to you. You're in business for whatever reason, Kri, right? Like for me, I want to build an organization where others can come and work and they can better their lives. So I've matured as a business owner to kind of let go a little and let other women, it just so happens a lot of women always work for me. I track them and the things that they can do in their lives as a product of being with my business, like legacy, all of those things. Others, and I do coach some people where it's like they want the revenue from their business to feed a lifestyle that is important to them, that maybe it's fancy cars or second homes. And I don't care about that stuff, but I also don't have judgment on that because that is why they went into business for themselves, so that they could take the big vacations, they can enjoy their kids in that way or whatever it is. And I think understanding and respecting that about each other as business owners is really something I've come as a coach to really understand, like, what's your why and why are you in business and how can your business serve that? And I think I want my business to affect community and people's lives. Our tagline is expand the realm of possible. So that could be anything for any person. And so I think it's respecting that people are in business for different reasons and then figuring out how to support them to achieve those things. I love that part of it.
Yeah. And, I've heard you talk about new hires and the conversations that you have with them and how you empower your team to make the decisions. And it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but with Tauren, you've been able to get that business to a place where you have your team running everything. So it's almost the exact opposite of how you started. You started with just like kind of doing and being and everything.
Yeah.
And now you've gotten to a point where you have built a team that you trust and who are capable, and you've been able to kind of free up your time with that company because of the team you've built out.
Yeah. And I think I just recognize myself in a lot of them. I have a new salesperson who's replacing me as the IT account manager. And, I did just talk with her yesterday. It's like, you cannot screw up 8 years of what I built. So be okay with failing, because if you do something with one of my clients that I've had a relationship or and they text me, I'm going to call them and be like, it's fine. Like, they're learning, it's a mistake. Like, I want them to be free to fail, because I had a team who let me do that. And they followed me regardless. And, the people who were with me during that 15, 16, 17 year, when I finally, the light went on, they're like, we could have helped you all this time. Like, they didn't make me feel bad about it. They were there going like, finally, she's come to this evolution. Finally, she trusts me. And I've had people leave, like when one of my people left after 7 years, I mean, I literally fell to my knees when she told me over the phone. And I was like so bummed, because I visioned her being like my COO, but where she had gone here, it created this crazy opportunity for her to do something totally different that provides for her family in a different way. And in the first day, I told her, I'm like, I'm going to be a baby about this. I need about a day or two to cry and be a little pissed and try to get you to stay. But at the end, like, we're still friends, and she's created space for maybe somebody else to come. So I think it's just one of those things that if somebody's really mad at something someone I hired did, that after 8 years in business, they don't ever want to work with me again, then that relationship wasn't meant to go on. I can't be attached to that. I just have to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that sounds probably easier said than done, but I just can't worry. There's so much business out there. I can't worry about it in those terms.
I think that is such a great perspective to have. However, I will say, I think it takes time as a business owner to get to that place.
8 years.
It really does. Yeah. And so if you're not there now,
yes,
that might be one of your goals, is to get to that place one day where you can confidently just say no, or this isn't working, or you get to that that's it. To me, that is a part of business ownership, a freedom part of business ownership that is overlooked sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And you have to, I think I'm pretty self-aware. I mean, I continue to work on that, right? Like I don't always get it right? Like we just don't. Like I kind of liken it to parenting. Like there's some days I'm like, dude, I nailed that. And I have 3 very active, very cool, and very lucky kids and parent to have the 3 kids I have. And then there's other days where I'm like, that was not a mom win, right?
Yeah.
But they still love me and I love them and we'll get through it. And I kind of liken it to parenting. Like I have to give them enough rope to run with and to learn with. And I'm still learning, I hire people with different MOs and different operating. And now I have this new team after 5 years. And I'm like, oh God, I got to relearn some of my leadership and my communication styles. And but to your point, Kri, I think it probably took me 6 to 7 years to really kind of be like calm about those type of things.
Yeah.
For sure. At least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. And be okay with some failures and be okay with you're going to learn a lot of hard lessons.
Yeah.
100%. And there's a choice. Which way are you going to look at things?
Yeah. I mean, isn't that with life choice? That's a great way of putting it, Kri, because at the end of the day, with everything, we have choice. Mm-hmm. And so if I could choose to be really pissed about this and wallow in it. And I read a lot of books. It's funny. I was on a podcast the other day and the lady's like, what books do you read? And she's like, I never read a book. I have a stack of books. I'm like, well, let me just let you in a little secret. I never read a whole book. I heard a speaker once who said, read what you need. You'll know when you've got what you need and move on. And you may come back to it. So I don't know that I've, in the last, I would say 3 years, ever finished a book, a business book, professional development book, cover to cover. And she was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm not perfect by any stretch, but that's what works. But Grant Cardone wrote the book 10X Rule. And every year on the anniversary of my business in September, I read one chapter, Domination Over Competition. And he talks about where, if where you and I are married and I'm always worried about like you leaving me or cheating me or what's Kri going to do and who's she paying attention to and where's her mind going and why isn't she loving me? What's probably going to happen? You're going to go do those things, right? Yeah. Whereas if I just worked on dominating in our marriage and treating you nice and taking you out to dinner and, putting 10x into our relationship, then I don't need to worry about the other men out there or women out there that might steal you away from me. Right. Right. And I think that's the same in business. If I worry about, and there's a lot of not nice competition in my industry, if I choose to focus on that, then where's my mind goes, where my energy goes, where my mind flows. And so I've just chosen not to operate in that way. And just what can Tauren keep doing to be better? What can we do to be different? What can we offer our candidates? How can I offer my employees? If their cups are full, they can pour into other people. And so every September, I read that one chapter again, just to remind myself, domination. And it's not meant like in a negative way, but what am I 10Xing in my life, in my business to keep making it better and taking my eye off of the noise, right?
Yeah.
Choice,
yeah.
You said.
I like how that makes you look inward because 100%. Oftentimes it's just easy to make excuses or blame other people or other things or other circumstances. But at the end of the day, as a business owner, it's on you.
Yeah.
And regardless of what happens during the day, being able to look inward is important for sure.
Yeah. And I'm sure you had to do that too, through pandemic, right? Like it was a choice to either crawl up in a ball and let the weight of everything that was going on, because you can't just say COVID, you could say social justice, election, everything could just swallowed. There was a moment where it swallowed me up, and I'm sure we'll get to that because that was the catalyst for launching Catalyst. Was I was being swallowed up by the negativity, and I just was like, it's a choice. Like I love that you said that, because I do think that so much of what we do every day, we could choose to where we put our energy. We can choose to get out of bed. We can choose to make good decisions. We can choose to do the right thing, or we can choose the opposite. And that has consequences and results too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. You're making me think about this a lot. I love it. I love this conversation. So nice transition here. I think you did mention Catalyst. Before I move on to Catalyst though, I don't think we specifically said what Tauren Consulting is,
Oh,
the type of business it is. So just a quick, so if you could just let me know what Tauren Consulting is, what you do, and like just what a typical day in the life of a business owner with Tauren Consulting looks like.
Yeah, so we started as an IT professional services company. We do staffing. So we do recruiting for IT positions in the Vegas market. So we'll place people on a contract to hire, or direct hire basis. So people might have just a project they need us to staff. So for instance, we opened Encore, we opened Cosmopolitan, and you put together 25, 30 techs to deploy, image, plug in, get the technology working, project manage, all that stuff. We had something like 17, 18 people doing the link, remodel, from project managers to techs to long-term projects or direct hire. Someone left the company, we have an opening, we'll find them on a permanent basis. And actually in 2017, when I did the SBA Emerging Leaders Program, I wrote a 3-year business plan, which in my head was like, maybe you'll need to diversify 3-4 years in. You should probably add another line of business, and accounting and finance was on my 3-year plan, which I put on a shelf. It was not like I did all the things, but I wasn't managing to the business plan. And during pandemic, I was in here cleaning and I found that plan. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's 2020. I'm supposed to be opening accounting and finance, and thought about it a lot. And then we shut down. And so that got tabled. So as things were emerging, I started talking to a lot of clients about the gap between IT and accounting, like anti-money laundering, auditing, GDPR, like all these things where it can't sit fully in accounting because then the accountants are auditing the accountants, or it can't sit in IT because then they're kind of checking their own work. You need this like gray area. And a lot of clients started calling and saying, hey, we need help with this role, but it's not really IT, it's more finance. And these finance IT recruiting firms had closed in Vegas. A lot of them had shut down or moved out. And so I was getting asked to do things. And then a lady who does recruiting for recruiters called me. This all happened within 4 or 5 weeks. And she said, hey, I have this candidate. I know she's not really IT, but she's more finance. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to her. So I hired her in October, and we launched finance and accounting in January.
Okay.
I think too, Kri, my ascension to 5 million was fast, and it was a lot of hard work. And then I thought, do I really want to do that again? I want to get to 5 million, but do I want to work as hard as I did to get there? What does my business need to do to work smarter to get there? And adding another line of business just made sense. So I have Michelle running IT, Rochelle managing finance, and we're going to see if we can. We've always been hovering in that 2.5 million since pandemic. So how can we double that in maybe 2 years versus 3 to get back to 5 million?
Right. Yeah. And a big piece of that is exactly what you just described. Sometimes you have plans to scale your business. However, things are going to happen along the way. And so if you have tunnel vision, that this is the only plan, this is the only way I'm going to get there, and you're not open to hearing asks, like when people ask you for things and then they ask you and then they ask you, that's an opportunity.
100%. And I've watched you evolve your business over the years, right? And I'm sure that comes from that, right? What are people needing? Where do they need support on camera? All that training, all that stuff is, like you said, listening and then making a choice to be of service in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's how you were able to scale your business, right?
Yeah. So, we'll see it like in, 2025 to be back at 5 million.
There you go. I mean, it's not far from now.
It's not.
It's happening. It'll be here before we know it. Yes. Oh, that's amazing. All right. So Tauren.
Yes.
Are you proud of what you've built there?
I am. It's exactly I'm a Taurus. The logo is Tauren. It's disruptive. I think we're being disruptive. Mm-hmm. I like that these women who are working for me they have different aspirations and goals and are different stages of their lives with their families and things that they want to accomplish. And I see that for them through this, Mm-hmm. And so I look forward at the end of this year. There's key things that I know each one wants to do for their family or themselves. And I know they're going to be able to do that. And I'll know that my business is successful because they would have, all 3 of them, 4 of them now would have accomplished the things that they told me they wanted to do, like in the interview. Like it's written down. I know it. I look at it every day. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I get Michelle to accomplish this goal? How do I do that? That's important to me. So, December, January, I'll start to reflect and be like, oh my gosh, we're going to celebrate Tauren, but we're going to celebrate what you guys accomplished. So I love it. I'm really proud of it. It's been hard. And I know you're going to transition to Catalyst, but that was hard because it's been my blood. Like it's everything. Tauren is everything I do. And then when I had this idea to launch Catalyst, I was like, oh, I could do it 50-50. I'll be in both. I can run both these businesses. And like my heartstrings were tugged and I was like failing over here and not failing. It was hard. But I also was like thinking as I'm coaching these people in small business, like I'm giving them this advice, one of the things you should do is take yourself out of the day-to-day of the business and replace yourself. And then there's this 1, 2, 3 pointing right back at me. And it probably took me about a year to figure that out and be like, what the heck, Sonia? Like take your own advice. And
it's definitely humbling.
Yes,
for sure. I mean, if you,
yes,
there's been a couple of times where being a business owner has kind of brought me to my knees in that way. It's like, wait a minute.
Listen to yourself, it's crazy, right?
It is. It's crazy. It sounds like Tauren Consulting was born out of frustration. Personal frustration. You wanted certain things and you knew you could do things a certain way. And then I'm getting the impression that Catalyst is kind of similar in that you had some frustrations that really launched that business. Fair to say?
I wanted to, the mastermind world was something I really wanted to be. I evolved and sort of followed someone to kind of launch another group that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't really built on I want to be respectful at the same time. It wasn't in alignment with my views and morals and beliefs and ethics and all those things. And I didn't get that right away. And so I didn't really figure that out until shutdown. And that person basically said, we're closing the small business group. And so all these small business people that I had convinced to follow me, we were left in the lurch. And pandemic was happening. And, my husband runs his own business as well. And he works by himself in an office building. So when pandemic happened, he's like, I don't need to stay home. I'm going to the office. I was stuck at home, 3 kids, first year high school, 8th grade and 5th grade. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm stuck here. My husband's so busy. And, in our marriage, there are years where I have to support him more and he has to support me more. And one of our businesses carries the load and the other one doesn't. And so it was just kind of like we got into this groove. He's leaving at 6 a.m, coming home at 9 or 10. The mortgage industry was going crazy. And then I'm stuck trying to figure out how to be a teacher. Like, what the hell?
With your kids, right?
With my kids. Like, I was so, and a freshman in public coming out of private. It was just a mess. And then this group got like disbanded. And then George Floyd happened, and then PPP. And then I just spent a lot of days in my laundry room just crying, just like, what the heck? This is, I could tell like the less connection I had with people, the worse I felt. Like depression was setting in, anxiety. I'd be like yelling at my kids and they're like, yelling at me. It was just a lot. And so I reached out to them and said, I need help. Like let's just Zoom. How is everyone doing? What's going on? And it started initially just like, let's keep masterminding together, but we'll just, meet on this day at this time every week, standing Zoom. And when it's appropriate, if someone can come talk to us about PPP or IDLE or any of these programs or mental health or remote working, security, all these things that were coming up, I'll get a speaker. And then it morphed into, well, how's our mastermind going, Sonia? And what's our coach going to do? And I was like, oh my God, maybe this is something I should do. Like I should just start this business. So I started an LLC and I was like, okay, I need to like pay for some things for speakers and different things, but I'm not going to charge anyone. So I didn't charge a fee August through December. And then my group in December said, well, it's not really fair for you to keep doing this. Like we want you to be serious about this. And we're not going to continue if you don't make it official and start charging us. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's a nice
it was really,
to hear from people. Take my money.
Yeah, it was a really boost of confidence. And I just thought, you know what? I need this in my life. I need these people. I love this group of people. I love these business owners. And it became a real thing that December.
Yeah. So I think we can guess what Catalyst is, but if you wouldn't mind just sharing exactly what it is. And now it's an official business. So give us the spiel.
Yeah, so it's Catalyst.Vegas. Catalyst Mastermind Collaborative is what I officially called it on the paperwork. But it's basically a group that gets together in a mastermind format second Thursday of every month. We meet in person now, and it's built on a lot of the same sort of frameworks of other mastermind groups. You bring your opportunities. A lot of mastermind groups call them issues. I just think that's negative, so we call them opportunities. This is something I'm facing. Everyone talks about it, gives you ideas. We don't tell you what to do. We just share experience, and then we hold you accountable to what it is you're going to do. We have speakers. We have an awesome book club. We're leaving on Monday for our first ever couples catalyst retreat. It's just evolved into this like group of humans who are running businesses from, million to, I think 10, 14 million in revenue. And we're all agnostic. None of the same businesses are in the room. So you can talk freely about what's going on in your business. And in a mastermind setting, for what people don't know, is you can talk about anything. Like everything affects you as a person and therefore as a leader of your business. So how to hire, fire, choose a marketing company, pick a CRM, file your taxes properly. Do you buy another location? Do you not? I've been in mastermind situations. Everything's confidential, of course, but where there's been infidelity, and like one owner has a partner whose wife sleeps with the other one. Everything affects you. Or we had an owner who had a suicide on their team. So everything affects you as a person, and you need a space. We all need a space that we can come and talk about it and play around with the possibilities of what our business could be if we could navigate these things that are facing us. And it's not always woes. It's not, oh my gosh, I got this problem. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, we've had this influx of cash and business. What do I do? How do I give bonuses? How can I reward my staff? What if I take them on a trip? What can I do differently just to keep my business moving forward in a positive way? So it's also a way for us to celebrate each other. One of our members talks about how, his circle of friends, they never really amounted to a lot of things. He became successful. And so he has this sort of guilt about talking about the success he has around this group of friends. So where can he go and be like, I'm a badass. Mm-hmm. I'm killing it and not feel bad. I have that in my family. I didn't used to like to talk about my successes because I don't want to make my sister feel bad because her life wasn't going awesome. And so having a space where you can talk about those things and move your business forward. And then the accountability piece is, a lot of people don't think about that, but one of our members was talking about, he needs to redo his elevator pitch. And so we work through it. And at the end, we're like, well, we want to hear what it is in a week. And then a week later on the WhatsApp, everyone's like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And he's like, oh, you guys were serious? We're like, yes, we're serious. What is this? So holding each other accountable, growing with each other, navigating parenting, business, leadership, divorce, separation, windfalls of revenue, shortfalls of revenue. I mean, all of that is just, as business owners, it's really cool to have a place to be able to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like Tauren is a business that you learned how to be able not to be involved in every component of the business, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And, I guess I'm likening this to my leadership business that I had before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Was you are the brand, you are the brand, you are the training material, you are the salesperson, you're also the person who's organizing everything, you're also, coaching. Mm-hmm. So it seems to me like this is a much different business. How are you doing with that?
So I think, like I shared initially, I was like, well, I could do it 50-50. I don't need, I'll spend 50% of my time here and there. And then each week is different. Sometimes Tauren needs me more. Sometimes Catalyst needs me way more. And I'm also serving 13, 14 business owners that I've kind of embedded myself in their businesses as a, whether it's fractional, taking on more of a coaching or a leadership role in their business. I was like, what am I doing? Right. And so I would say summer, fall of last year, I really started to pay attention and look through some of my notes of the changes some of the people were having in their businesses because of our coaching. And then thinking, well, why don't I have an assistant? What, you got to hire an assistant. You should hire an assistant, delegate, elevate, delegate. And I'm like, and then, Charisse, who's my fractional CFO, she's like, wouldn't it be great if you listened to your own advice? It's like, So I finally hired an assistant. I replaced myself at Tauren. It's like you said, it's sort of like a mirror into what you're telling other people is possible for them can also be possible for me. And so that was a great awakening for me. And And then learning to like let go in Tauren a little bit and just being like, you got this, you got this. Now people will still, like, I'm sure with like your leadership stuff, they always want Kri, right? Like, if you hired a second camera woman or someone else to coach and facilitate, they probably still want you because you were the magic of the business. And so a lot of times people text me or email me directly, and I kindly just loop the other person in and gently pass the torch. And, sometimes I'll get grief where they'll be like, I don't get to work with you anymore. Now you're like this big shot. And I'm like, I'm still here. I'm just growing.
And yes, I am.
Exactly. So it's an evolution, and it did not come easy. 2021, 2020, 21, even halfway through 2022, I was working really hard and feeling overwhelmed and just like, one of these is going to poop the bed and it's going to be bad. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I could just delegate too. I can hire someone else, and it's evolving. And I imagine by the end of this year, it will really settle into what it is I want it to be. And I touched on it earlier. I had this like guilt because Tauren is my baby. And I was like, well, I don't want it to go away. I want it to live beyond me. And does that mean like my kids will come in and get involved in the business? Does that mean one of them, maybe I'll get an ESOP, an employee stock option plan, or do profit sharing, or I don't know, like what could that be? Because I want Tauren to live on. Just because I've maybe evolved, I don't want it to go away. And so how do I build it so that it can still live, beyond me? That's kind of where I'm at with it, is like, I still want my foot in it a little bit, but I just don't know that I want to run it every day.
Right.
I don't know that it needs me to run it every day.
But you know what? You don't need the answer today either, right? It's something that can come over time, and there's a lot of patience involved in business ownership. And I think one thing you've really highlighted in this conversation so far is you're just always learning.
Yeah.
You think you're going to hit a point in time where that stops. It just doesn't.
No,
it really doesn't.
I don't want it to. I feel like, they say like the Alzheimer's studies, right? Like, they say parents and grandparents who are involved with their grandkids live longer. They keep their brain. And it is because like kids are always challenging you, right? They're making you read books or making you play games and Uno or whatever it is. And I look at, my mom is only in her 60s, but not as active because she's not around us and our kids as much. Whereas my mother-in-law lives with two of my nieces and is reading and active and going to games. And I'm not allowed to discuss her age, but she has a different age than my mom, but they act the opposite age, right? Because I just think of their activity. And I think my mom would love to be around us more. And I do think, she started dating a boyfriend and he made her more active and her health changed tremendously. Yeah. And so I think that's a testament to like what we push our bodies to do, what we put our minds to do. I don't know if I want to live to 100, but I want to get past 50, which is when my dad passed. Like I want to transcend that time. I want to be here when my kids get married because he didn't get to see me get married. So I think to your point, like you always want to be learning something.
Yeah. Yeah. Quality, right? Quality of life, quality of livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Perfect transition for me. You're lofting these softballs up for great transition. So you own two businesses. I think we have a really good idea of what they are and kind of what it takes to run them. And that is a lot of time and energy and constantly thinking and having to pivot, and be flexible with your schedule. For you as a business owner and as a person, how do you handle this personally? You have a family, you have a spouse, you have other things going on in your life. What do you do to have, work-life balance really?
Well, it's funny you say it. So a catalyst, this coming retreat, we have a guy named Chris Culver who's coming to talk about life on your terms. And I picked him because he talked about work-life integration. And I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. Like there's days I'm winning. I'm like killing it. And I feel really good about what I'm doing. And there's other days where I'm like, that was not good. And I think the areas that I could do better at, I'm coming up on 20 years marriage. And I think my husband and I are like two ships passing in the night right now. And I'm thinking like, it's coming up on 20 years. Is this what it's supposed to be? Like, I want it to be fun and exciting again. And what's my role in that? I don't know that I'm pulling my weight in that part. I think, I I'm probably going to miss a track tournament today. And that kind of sucks. But I also feel like I have to not beat myself up about those things, because I remember like pretty vividly when the kids were younger and going to private school, and there was like a group of moms that were always at everything, and God bless them. They had the fortitude and fortune to be able to be stay-at-home moms. It's not a role I think I was cut out for. But I always felt like there was this judgment against me because I missed some things, right? But Ben and I have always been, one of us will be there. There will never not be a parent at something that our kids are doing. And we try to both be there. It doesn't always work out that way. And so there's times where I'm like, damn it, like, how can I figure it out today to get there so I can at least see one race and not miss it? And then I've also kind of like been like, you know what, if Arden gets her personal record today where she wants to shave a second off of the 400 and she comes home and she tells me about that, that's freaking cool too. Like her just retelling that story. I need to be like, okay with that's what I get, right? That's what I get to have for this moment, and just not beat up, because I also want my kids to see that there's choices. And when they go on and forge families and do things, there's no perfect answer.
Yeah.
And they're going to make choices.
What does that conversation look like with your family when, you have a work conflict? What does that sound like?
We just talk about it. I tell them, I don't know if I'm going to make it today to the soccer game or football or whatever I'm going to miss. And, when Noah was kicking on the football team, he's like, well, there's a senior kicking and I'm a junior, so the senior's going to kick. I'm just going to stand on the sideline, Mom. So don't stress yourself out, because I won't even be on the field. So we have very honest conversations about it. And I do try to find ways to make it up. Like I finally snagged some Taylor Swift tickets. They stocked them online. I was not paying $1,000, and I waited till they came down. So I'm taking Arden to Taylor Swift on Friday. And I also try to pay attention to Arden's love language is 100% quality time. She wants that one-on-one. If I went to Taylor Swift and like brought another kid with me, she'd be like crabby about it, right? Because she thought it was just me and her. So I have to pay attention to what's important to them. And I think too, I just got to do better at home with, being there for my husband and knowing what his love language is and making time for him. And so I don't think I'm winning in that area right now. So it's good to talk about these things and like self-reflect and be like, this is not how I want our 20th year of marriage to be, where we're super busy and we're not connecting, because right. Desi's 13 and he'll be the next month April, he's turning 13. So, I'm doing the math, and like in 5 years, there's no one at home. I don't want to look at Ben and be like, why are we doing this? I want to look forward to that time together. So I don't have the answer to that. I believe in like just dealing with what is and giving myself grace, because then where my energy goes, my mind goes, my energy flows. If I keep thinking I'm sucking at being a wife, then I'm just going to keep sucking at being a wife. So I have to make it up to him in ways. And I know his, love language is acts of service and personal touch. So clean the kitchen after I cook, put away the laundry, like these little things. I know he's like feels his cup gets filled up, and, give him a kiss and good night before I go up he always stays up later than me. But like those little things, I try to make sure I'm at least doing that, just to find that, I think in marriages you go like this, right? You don't.
Oh yeah. In any relationship, right?
Yeah.
But definitely marriage. And, you don't have the answers. You might not have the answers, but it's stuff you think about.
Yeah. All the
time.
Either
way, it's your mind isn't always on business. You have a lot going on in your personal life too. And then even how do you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
How are you making sure? And, for you saw that you needed help. And so you just created a business around it.
Yes.
Yes. I would like to talk to other business owners, and I would like to create a community where we're helping each other, and I have a place to go.
Yeah.
Right?
I had to get out of here and into here.
Yeah.
When I'm in here, that's just noise.
Right.
And that just doesn't bode well for someone like me to be like ruminating over what's not working. Okay. How I can get to here. Mm-hmm. If I'm in here, that I'm doing what I love, I'm, coming from a place of heart and personal responsibility and me, than just like stuck in my head. Like that's just, when I get up there and stay up there, I know that's not a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. if you can look back on both of your businesses, and if you could share, something that stands out for you is what does success mean for you? So if you look back and you say, Tauren is a successful business, it's because of this, and Catalyst is a successful business because of this, what would those things be?
Yeah, I mean, I really believe a little bit that I touched on earlier, if the people who work directly for me, my staff, are filled and they're coming from a place of service and expanding the realm of possible, which is our tagline, for others, then that means the world to me. So it's like, Michelle came through, she's like, I really want to get this like career coaching certificate. And I was like, well, that would be great for Tauren. It'd be great for you, great for Tauren, go do it. And if you get a B or better, I'll pay you back 50% of it. And she was like, what? And I'm like, yes, but I want whatever you learn, you got to pour back into my business. So I feel like as we place people and the successes that they have, we had a candidate reach out to us maybe sometime last year, and he was like a tech that nobody would give an interview for. And now he's a supervisor at the same company we placed him at 5 years ago. Like, that's huge for me, like to see him succeed in that way. I love that. And so I think our success is helping others see what's possible for them. And if Tauren is always a part of making the IT community better, then we're winning. And by that, it's the people we're putting to work, the clients that we're shifting the culture of their business for, and how the people who are staffing, recruiting, and selling, how their lives are improved from that. That's like amazing. For me, that's amazing. And Catalyst, it's like, it's funny because I feel like there's this like, oh, Sonia made me do this. And there's always like, oh, Sonia's such a pain in my butt coach. There's always like these little underlying jokes. But I feel like if they weren't complaining about me, I wouldn't be doing my job. So when it first happened, in session, I remember thinking like, oh God, I'm like, they like hate me. Like they don't really like my coaching, or I'm such a pain in the ass and I didn't want to be that. But then I like see the turnaround, like someone's in debt this much with this much revenue. And now it's like this much pipeline and no debt. Like I was a part of that. Like I helped them see that they could make that happen. And so as businesses evolve and grow and business owners are able to create what's important to them in their lives and businesses, like, again, it's not my decision why you went into business or why you keep your business, but you tell me why that is. And I'm going to keep bringing it back to you. You want to spend more time with your kids? What are we doing in your business to create that? How are we shortening the workday, bettering the systems, improving the processes so you can get home? Now, he's like, I'm going to be a flag football coach. Like 2 years ago, I could never take that time off for work. And I'm like, if I'm a little bit a part of that, creating that vibration for that person, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. Do you do that for yourself? I know you've kind of alluded to the fact that sometimes you look inward and you kind of say, if I'm telling other people to do these things, I should probably be doing that myself also.
Well, I wanted some more freedom. I hired an assistant. I replaced myself. I think those little things, I wanted to hit a goal with Catalyst. I bought myself a new purse. So I do reward myself. I'm learning I had a coach once to make me celebrate myself for 30 days straight. And it like ended with, I had to take myself out to a fancy dinner by myself, buy myself flowers. And literally I couldn't spend less than $100 on dinner by myself. And that was like a big lesson for me. Like, we need to celebrate ourselves too and our wins. And we don't need other people to do that. Like, it's all about how I feel about what I'm doing. So that was a fun month. I had to like declare something I loved about myself publicly, like every day for 30 days. That was hard. But I think I am doing it, Kri. I think I could always be reminded and held accountable to do better at it. And I think my group with Catalyst, even though I'm the facilitator, they do remind me of that through their actions and stuff. I think I could always get better.
Yeah. It's an ebb and flow too, right?
Yeah.
Even
100%.
just with your own taking care of yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There are times when you have certain goals and it's like, I'm going to be working a lot for the next couple months.
Yeah.
And then there's times when it's like, okay, I'm going to take a little breather.
Yeah.
Or just kind of scale back a little bit or hire someone or whatever that looks like. Right.
Yep.
And I think that's a part of business ownership a lot of people don't realize is, you can certainly take all the time off you want.
Yeah.
But
well, to your point, Kri, like if I don't do it, why would my staff think that they could do it? And if I choose to be a slave to my business, then I'm sort of setting that as an example for my staff. And I don't want especially as the fortunate enough to hire women and moms, like, I don't want that to be shit. I gotta work for Sonia. I can't take time off for my family. Like, that's not good.
I like how you kind of look to those experiences and those relationships and like how you want to provide for your employees as a litmus test for yourself and your business. It's almost like you look to that for just for motivation and for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Women are amazing. They're amazing to work with. They're amazing examples. I learn lessons every day from women in my life all the time.
Right. You just have to be willing to listen.
100%.
You know,
when we have like 2 ears and one mouth.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. All right. There are lots of people tuning in who are current business owners. If you could give advice to an established business who wants to up their game, they want to grow their business, take their business to the next level, as you're doing right now with Tauren.
Yeah.
Really, you have a goal to hit 5 million in a couple of years. So what advice would you give to that business owner?
I think it's important to be honest about what's not working. Really be honest about that and seek out the support, whether it's through there's so many masterminds. I'd love everyone to join Catalyst, but you have to find one that works for you and that has the right level of that you're leveling up, that the right people are in the room. And so I always suggest go to masterminds, go for the free session, check it out. But I think the lesson, the biggest, if I could sum it up in one thing, is know that you do not have to do it all alone. That's a choice. And so I love that you brought up choice earlier. It's like ruminating in my mind, this whole conversation. It's a choice to be a martyr to your business. And so reach out, have a conversation with someone like me. Maybe my group is a fit for you. Maybe it's not, but get out of your own way and really start talking about what's not working and getting ideas on how to make that all better for yourself so that you can have the business that you want for whatever your why is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good advice. And then just to switch gears a little bit, there are a lot of listeners here. I talk to people all the time that, especially women our age, we're both going to be 49 this year. And so you said it first, I'll also say it. I think you do. This happens throughout everyone's lives, but I hear it more and more with women in our age range. It's like I'm overworking in corporate America. Mm-hmm. I'm overworking for other people. I'm tired. I want to start my own business.
Yeah.
And it's risky and it's scary, and a lot of things change in your life when you make a decision like that.
Yep.
What advice would you give to a new business owner who really wants to take that leap and start a business?
Yeah, I think, we launched the incubator group with Catalyst, which serves just that. Those people who started maybe a business, sometime most of them in pandemic or kind of started before and then gave up on it. They say something like 85% of small businesses fail within the first 18 months. That's a crazy statistic, right? When you think about it. And so I think, a lot of people just wing it. They go out there, they're like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. And they're just moving along and it's all on me to do it. I think there's so many resources, like you mentioned. There's the SDBC, there's the Apex, there's the SBA, there's coaches, there's free, there's paid. But if you really have a vision, sit with someone and tell it to someone else, talk to someone else, because even just getting it out of your head is the first step. For someone to go, oh my God, you could totally do that. Or if you did it, tweak it like this, just be in the conversation about it. And then if you really, really believe in it, I'm a risk taker. I just say, go for it, but have the foundational people around you to hold you accountable, to give you the ideas, to give you the support so that maybe you don't make the mistakes that some of us have made and you can get to this success or liberty, freedom, whatever it is, a little bit faster than we did without having to weather that storm.
Yeah, I like that. And, to your point earlier too, it's if you can identify what's not working as fast as possible, it works for a new business owner also. And
especially if it's you.
Yeah. And especially because I think when you start a business, you just have more heart and soul into whatever that idea is or product or service, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's at the very beginning, it's even harder to notice if something's not working.
Yeah.
And having people around you who can point that out as well, I think is valuable.
Yeah. I was talking with one lady the other day, and she's like, well, this is how I've been doing it. And this is what I think. And this I think. And so a couple of us were brainstorming with her, and some other people had some awesome ideas. And she was like, I never thought about that. Like, that's so obvious, like that was and it was game changing in that moment for her and her business, because she's like, I'm going to give myself another month and then that's it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And we were like, what?
Yeah.
What about this? And what about this? And what about this? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know how to make it happen. And it's just like a 30-minute brainstorm session. I just got a note from her, and she's like, I did this. I reached out, and you're right. That lady was right. I can get it for pennies on the dollar if I go this way versus that way. And I never would have had the confidence to even or the mind clarity to even think about new ideas. And so I think women want to help each other. I think women and men are very creative, and especially when it's not your idea, sometimes you can see it a little bit differently. And so just being in the conversation of it is so cool.
Yeah. What stands out to me in this conversation, generally speaking, is, surround yourself with other people who can help you and share and talk about it, and don't hold everything inside. And there are people who can help you, and whether it's delegation or getting advice, I think that is something that's standing out for me today. Yeah,
I think, and there's this other speaker that's going to be at our retreat, and he talks about bags of poop, and how we all have bags of poop, and we carry them around. And then just think about that. If you just carried around, I don't know how to do payroll, I don't know how to do this, and each one of these things is a bag of poop. How far are you moving, dragging these? And I always have that visualization of when I'm faced with a problem, I was like, is this a bag of poop I could let go? Because I would really like to let go of it,
Yeah, we're more inclined to let go of a bag of poop, I think, than anything else. So
it's a weird visual, but it's it makes me think of that.
I
don't really need to have this bag of poop. And it could be a relationship, it could be a person, it could be, just indecision, whatever it is, just cut that cord, make a choice, to your point, choose and move. And the paths start to the universe will provide.
Yes. Sonia, I just want to thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for launching the podcast. I loved our conversation. Before we wrap up, if you will just let us know what you're up to, where can people find you? Yeah. Where can people connect with you? What does that all look like?
Well, I'm probably the only Sonia Petkewich on LinkedIn. There's not many of us, but catalyst.vegas is the best place to find us for all things mastermind, coaching, incubator, cash flow story. We have so many great tools and things available coming up for women. We just are business owners. We just want to be in the conversation of how to improve things. So there's lots of fun stuff happening there. I encourage people to come for free to Catalyst at least 2 months, a speaker month, a non-speaker month, see if that's free. And if you know someone who's looking for a job or needs support around that, Tauren is there to help, whether it's finance, accounting, administration, and that's taurenconsulting.net. And I'd love to connect with people. And that's one of the things I admire about you, Kri, is just you're always creating a space for women to come together, for leaders to come together, being in that conversation of how we have to be leaders of ourselves in order to get this world moving forward in a better place. So I love that about you. And so I'm super honored to be the first, and to be in your circle. And I look up to you for a lot of things too in leadership. So hopefully the tables will be turned one day and somebody will interview you on all your greatness.
Wow. Thanks, Sonia. I appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe for future episodes. We're starting out doing just monthly episodes now, and looking forward to talking to the next guest, which I'll be announcing soon. But until then, thanks again so much, Sonia.
Thanks, Kri.